It's been officially 1 year since the PS5 Pro released, and I've sunk hundreds, if not over 1,000 hours into this console over the past 12 months. And I want to give you an in-depth breakdown of my thoughts on this machine, both the good and the bad, and whether or not I think it was worth it. If you're thinking about getting a PS5 Pro, hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have all the information you need to make a decision on whether it's worth buying for you. Alright, let's get into it. The PS5 Pro was first announced in September of 2024, and it was definitely met with a lot of mixed reception. And the primary reason for that wasn't because of the actual capabilities of the machine, it was the price point. At launch, the console was $699, and that was without a disc drive. Compare that to the $399 discless version of the base PS5, and that's nearly $300 more. And if you wanted a disc drive, you'd have to shell out another $80 on top of that. Since then, in kind of a shocking turn of events, all of these consoles are now actually $50 more expensive after Sony's recent price increases. So needless to say, it costs a pretty penny to purchase this console. But what do you actually get with the PS5 Pro? Well, the main upgrades are the larger GPU, which has 67% more compute units and 28% faster RAM, the advanced ray tracing capabilities, and Sony's proprietary AI upscaler called PSSR, or PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. But one other less talked about but meaningful upgrade that you get with the Pro is a 2TB SSD, which is double that of the base PS5. But what does this all mean when you actually play games? Well, the allure of the PS5 Pro was what Mark Cerny promised in his original technical presentation: to broadly deliver fidelity mode level graphics at performance mode level frame rates. That was the pitch. You wouldn't have to choose anymore between beautiful graphics at 30 FPS or visually compromised gameplay at 60 FPS. You'd get both. Now, a year later, we have a much better understanding of how well they delivered on that promise. And the truth is, unfortunately, it's complicated. The reason for that is that the implementation of the Pro enhancements is entirely up to individual developers on a game-by-game basis. As a result, it means the actual benefit you get from the console is going to differ from game to game. And so the success of the console boils down to two things. One, how many games are going to receive Pro enhancements? And two, how meaningful are these enhancements? Well, after a year, we now have a much clearer picture of how this is shaken out. Let's start with the good, because there absolutely are games that deliver transformative experiences on the PS5 Pro. And the best place to start is with Sony's first-party titles. I'm talking about games published by PlayStation Studios, which were likely given in-house support when it comes to PS5 Pro enhancements. And generally speaking, if you're going to play a first-party game on a PS5 Pro, you're probably going to have a significantly improved experience. For the most part, all of these games look and run fantastic on the PS5 Pro. For example, one of the games that I feel has been most transformed by the PS5 Pro is Horizon Forbidden West. This game already looked fabulous on the base PS5, but with the Pro enhancements, it's a visual showpiece. It looks stunning, and you get that rock-solid 60 FPS gameplay on top of it. In my personal opinion, this is transformative. Full stop. You will be getting a significantly superior experience playing this game on the PS5 Pro versus the base PS5. But first-party games aren't the only ones that benefit. There are absolutely some third-party titles where developers implemented Pro support really well and delivered on that promise. Take Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, for example. This game is night and day comparing the base PS5 version to the PS5 Pro version. The performance mode on the base PS5 for this game was just really visually poor in my opinion. And if you wanted to play it in quality mode where it actually looked pretty good, you had to settle for 30 FPS. For an action-heavy game like this, that made for a less than ideal experience. The PS5 Pro completely transforms this. You get that fidelity level graphics with the performance level frame rates exactly as promised. Another highlight for me is Stellar Blade. This game looks absolutely stunning on PS5 Pro. It runs buttery smooth and the visuals are really striking. Another standout title is Assassin's Creed Shadows. the PS5 Pro allows you to experience the world with full ray-traced global illuminations enabled at increased performance frame rates. In this particular game, the world looks completely different when RTGI is disabled, which is a sacrifice that you have to make with the performance mode on the base PS5, but something you get with all of the modes on the Pro. I could go on talking about all of the different games that I think are transformed by the PS5 Pro, but maybe that would be better suited for its own video. If you're interested in something like that, let me know in the comments. But anyways, when the PS5 Pro works as intended, it really works, and you can have some truly great gaming experiences. But with that being said, there are some caveats to talk about. The first and most important thing to understand is that not every game gets PS5 Pro support. If you're buying a PS5 Pro thinking it's going to just make every single PlayStation game you own look and run better, unfortunately, that just isn't how it works. Like I mentioned before, Pro support has to be specifically implemented by developers, and there are plenty of games out there that would greatly benefit from Pro enhancements, but simply don't have them. Second, for some games that do have Pro support, it can be shoddily implemented. And this is where things get frustrating. Some games come with an unfortunate trade-off as a result of their PSSR implementation. Dragon's Dogma 2 is a good example of this. When you play it on PS5 Pro with Performance Pro enabled, you definitely get the better visuals at an improved frame rate. But PSSR introduces this temporal instability, which results in a noticeable shimmer effect, especially on things like trees and foliage. It can be quite distracting. So you're getting better performance, but at the cost of visual artifacts that weren't there before. Fortunately, it seems that developers have started to get better with their Pro support, and this has been less of an issue for more recently released titles. And then there's the confusion around settings and modes. Part of the promise of the PS5 Pro's fidelity visuals at performance frame rates was that players wouldn't have to mess around with graphic settings anymore. You just get the best of both worlds, right? Well, not exactly. Now, in most Pro Enhanced games, you get a whole host of options, and it's actually harder to figure out what to do. Take Stellar Blade, for example. You get a Performance Pro mode and a Pro Max mode. And then you also have the option to toggle PSSR on or off. The options and the terminology is just all over the place and completely inconsistent across games. For every game, it feels like you have to do research to figure out what the best settings are. I really wish Sony had just standardized this to some degree. Also, I want to talk about some other important factors to consider if you're thinking about buying a PS5 Pro. First, let's address the elephant in the room. A lot of people are going to say, just get a PC. And look, I get it. PC gaming can offer even better performance with more flexibility, but the truth is, PC gaming isn't for everyone. Personally, with my current setup, it just isn't as feasible. And one of the benefits of console gaming is that you can just turn it on and start playing. There's no worrying about updating drivers or whether your graphics card can handle a given game or tweaking settings for an hour before you actually play. For the most part, you just turn it on and it works. But at the same time, I totally get it. If you're primarily a PC gamer or you already have a really nice gaming PC, then it's likely the PS5 Pro just isn't worth it for you. And there's something else that I also wanted to mention. If you're going to buy a PS5 Pro, you first need to make sure that you have the right display to actually take advantage of the better hardware. I'm talking about a TV or monitor with 4K support, 120Hz refresh rate, maybe even VRR. If you don't already have that, I would honestly consider upgrading your display before upgrading to a PS5 Pro. The display upgrade will likely benefit every single thing you watch or play, not just PS5 games. I could even see the argument that upgrading to an OLED display would be more impactful to your overall gaming experience than buying a PS5 Pro. So yeah, that's something to seriously consider. Then there's also the timing factor. We're already hearing rumors of the PS6 releasing potentially as soon as late 2027. If that's true, you gotta ask yourself if making the investment in the Pro today is worth it for you, when it may just last a couple of years before becoming obsolete by the next console. There's also some other information that might be relevant, but I will say it should be taken with a grain of salt. And that is that there are reports that the PS5 Pro could be getting a meaningful update to PSSR in 2026. Sony has been working closely with AMD, and PSSR is derived from the same technologies as FSR4. So there's speculation that the new version could achieve similar results and improve visuals and performance even further. But all of that's just speculation, and it's off in the future, so I wouldn't even really factor that into a consideration today. So with all of that context, here's my verdict after 1 year with the PS5 Pro. If you're a console enthusiast, meaning console gaming is your primary way to play games, and you already have a good 4K TV or monitor, and you play a lot of PS5 games including first-party titles, then yeah, if you have the money to spare, I think the PS5 Pro is probably worth it for you. You're going to enjoy it, and you'll likely be happy with the PS5 Pro because you'll be getting meaningfully better experiences in the vast majority of the games you play. But if you're primarily a PC gamer, or if you don't already have a proper display to take advantage of the hardware, or if you're just a casual gamer, then no, I don't think the PS5 Pro is worth it. But for me personally, I'd say I've been pretty happy with the PS5 Pro. The majority of the games that I've played over the past year have been improved by some degree by the PS5 Pro. First-party games in particular have had transformative experiences, but even some third-party games have been completely transformed as well. In my personal circumstances, I feel like I've gotten the benefit from paying that premium. But I totally understand that's not the case for everyone. This is a niche product for a very specific slice of the market. You have to evaluate whether you fit that profile. If you do, I think you'll enjoy the PS5 Pro. But that's just my honest take after 1 year with the console. Hopefully, this gave you the information you need to make a decision. If you found this helpful, please consider liking the video and subscribing. And if you have a PS5 Pro yourself, let me know what your experience has been like in the comments. Or if you're thinking about getting one and have questions, feel free to ask in the comments as well. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.